So you would like to have this story be a team that has been intelligently built, that has a superstar scoring champ about to be league MVP, a, kind of up and coming second and third options in J-Dub and Chet, and this team just absolutely annihilating Minnesota in the Thunder's first conference finals game since KD was there. You'd love for that to be the story, but it's not the story. The story is, and there's no way around it, and I think you guys know from, as I interrupt myself, my hesitation across sports to blame officials, and I'm not blaming the officials for this one. But the officiating is the story, because the dichotomy between how the Thunder guard, which is awesome playoff physical defense, and the way Shai is allowed to be guarded, and the way Shai courts contact or initiates contact and then reacts as if there were a sniper in the crowd and just flails to the ground, and time after time after time gets rewarded for it, is utterly maddening. And we have seen, listen, James Harden was different stylistically than Shai, but did a lot of this same stuff, obviously. Maybe this feels more jarring because Harden's teams were not the best defensive team we've seen in a quarter century, or at least 20 years, that was on the other end of the court roughing everyone up. But it is impossible to watch, and I like it, by the way Caruso and Dort and Wiggins and Wallace and J-Dub are allowed to guard, and then see on the other end of the court how Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is treated by the refs as if he's playing by a different set of rules. Miles Brown, who is someone I quote a lot on this show because I think he's a smart guy, and I also think he has a very funny Twitter. He's at m.brown. He tweeted, "The way OKC gets to play football on one end of the court and behind museum glass on the other is infuriating." And that is exactly how I feel. And I do think there is a knock-on effect from when Shai draws 4 fouls in the first 5 minutes of the game. Not only does Jaden McDaniels and Rudy Gobert and others get in foul trouble, and Gobert got 2 fouls early. One was offensive, so maybe he's the wrong example. He actually didn't foul again after that, but he was kind of seemingly knocked out of the game impact-wise after those opening 2 fouls. But the knock-on effect is this. When the refs make it clear immediately, we are going to reward Shai's flopping, because that's what it is. It is shameless flopping. Then later in the game, and you saw it in the second half, guys feel like, well, I have to give him space or else he's going to draw the foul, even if the foul didn't exist. And all of a sudden, Shai can totally comfortably step into that 17-footer that he's the best in the league at. And we have these NBA, the bad acting, dopey, agenda-laden folks who have been trying to tell you for the last 5 years the league is dying because the league had the audacity to try to have some type of social conscience. Those folks who've been in hiding this postseason because the ratings have been off the charts, because the games have been great. Those folks obviously have not acknowledged that the first 2 rounds of these playoffs, the ratings were some of the best we've seen in more than 10 years in this league through the first 2 rounds. Now, part of that is the games have just been awesome, but to have that type of rating when Steph really only played a round, when LeBron only played a round, when Durant didn't make the playoffs at all, when Giannis only played 1 round, is a testament to the fact that the audience has enjoyed the way these games have been played and officiated. That this postseason, we are allowing a level of physicality and a level of contact that is so unlike what is allowed in the regular season. The audience likes it, and the teams have adjusted. And it's not even accurate to say that that is applied to every team except the Thunder, because it absolutely has applied to the Thunder's defense. Alex Caruso's awesome, and I give him massive credit. Alex Caruso was basically allowed to take out a police baton on Nikola Jokic. The refs were like, whatever, man. You're 6 inches taller than him. Deal with it. Fine. I am not complaining about that. I thought that was great. But when you compare that to the way the refs are saying you have to guard Shai, and these are laughable plays. And credit to Doris and to Richard Jefferson for acknowledging it during the broadcast. But these are Shai. It's not even like the old Harden hook the guy's arm and then go up. It is just take a step and act like you got hit and collapse to the floor while tossing up a shot. Some of the most egregious ones yesterday, he actually made the shot while falling. There was one truly egregious one that the Timberwolves challenged and won, but you don't have endless challenges and you don't want to use them early. And it's just unbecoming. And one of the reasons I had a level, not huge, but a level of Thunder skepticism was I wondered, was Shai going to get the whistle in the playoffs that he got in the regular season? And up to this point, the answer is absolutely yes. If not a better one, because he's averaging probably about the same whistle. His free throws in each game of these playoffs, 7 in the first game of the playoffs. He only played 23 minutes because they won by 50. 4 in game 2 of the playoffs when they won by 20. 9 in game 3. 13 in the deciding game against Memphis. And then 9 in game 1 against Denver, 11 in game 2 against Denver, just 5 in the overtime loss to Denver, then 12, then 6, then 11, then 9, and last night 14. And this is going to sound unsportsman of me, but it is sports and this is part of it. If I am Minnesota and this is how they are going to, I'll give it game 2 and see what type of whistle he's getting. But if it's clear any type of contact, he is going, even if he generates it, even if it's borderline fraudulent, he's just going to get that whistle, then you guys need to decide as a team if we're going to get our money's worth on these fouls. Because right now, he is getting the best of all worlds. He's living at the free throw line, and he's leaving the game physically feeling better than he came into the game. Because there's no hard contact. Last night, there wasn't a single foul that was like, oh, that's a hard playoff foul. And I'm not talking about dirty plays. I'm not talking about undercutting him, anything like that. The audience knows what I'm talking about here. And I hate that that's the story, but that's the story of game one. And it is why people got, and sometimes I say things on the TV show or on here, and I say ahead of time that I know I'm going to get killed for this. Don't care. It's just how I feel. I owe the audience honesty, so I'm going to give them honesty. And when I said on the show yesterday, I think the Thunder are the best team. I think they're going to win. I hope the Timberwolves win. Part of it was because I do not like this style of play being rewarded. I just don't. The foul baiting, flopping nonsense. And I'm glad I got that take out prior to game one, because I feel like a lot of America watching that game joined me. And here's the other part of it. He doesn't have to do this. So take later stage Jimmy Butler, who is not a volume or a good three-point shooter, who was not a crazy explosive athlete. And in order for him to be peak effective, he had to be drawing fouls. But he drew fouls kind of the old-fashioned way. He would pump fake, get you in the air, and go up. And that can be annoying, but that's not grifting. It's a frustrating guy to go against because you're like, just stay on the ground. He's not going up with his first shot. And guys would have a hard time with it. Shai is just kind of wildly throwing himself into the lane, falling sideways, looking for minimal contact, selling it like Daniel Day-Lewis, and being rewarded by it in a playoffs when for other guys it has been, if you're not bleeding from the nose, it probably wasn't a foul. And it's just wildly frustrating. Now, was that the reason the Thunder won by 26? They outscored them 70-40 in the second half. So was that was the story of the game, but was that the reason the Thunder won? No.